Hey there, folks. My name is Lucas Martin. I'm our business development manager here at ARC Advisory Group. Our analysts make it a priority to monitor the key technology changes, vertical industries, and any regional trends impacting the global business environment as a whole. This is a new market update segment where I'll pick the minds of our industry experts here at ARC Advisory Group. We'll chat about the scope of the market, the supplier landscape, key growth and success factors, and any key trends they may have discovered through their research. Now, let's not waste any more of your time and hop right into the interview. Hey there, folks. Welcome back to another market update episode. Today, I'm joined by Patrick Arnold, an analyst here at ARC Advisory Group. Patrick recently finished up a 2023 global market analysis report on routers and gateways, and I wanted to set up some time to share with the audience a little bit more detail about the research. Thanks a lot for the time, Patrick. Can you briefly touch on just the scope and the bandwidth that went into producing such a quality market analysis report?
Sure. So right now, the research that I've been focusing on is on the industrial edge. And often considered the backbone of these industrial edge deployments are gateways and routers, specifically industrial IoT gateways and routers. And these are network infrastructure devices that sort of rest near where that data is created, close to where the operations are happening. And specifically, this report focuses on those devices that have edge to cloud integration, where we're taking that operational data and we're moving it to the cloud through different protocols, or edge computing. So that's when you have all these computational resources that can process that data that you're gathering at the edge and do something with it.
Absolutely. Can you give the audience an idea of the supplier landscape, maybe a couple of the larger players and maybe one of the up-and-coming newer suppliers in the market?
Sure. So the leading suppliers, right now we have things like Advantech. They're a Taiwan-based company with a very strong focus on edge compute. They're really looking into things like AI, machine vision, and they've got some very powerful edge compute products in their portfolio. Another big supplier is Cisco. They've been a huge player in the networking space for a long time. And Cisco is really spearheading the use of some of these more IT-oriented technologies that maybe are not as familiar in the OT space. We're also seeing some smaller companies that are specifically targeting different industries with certifications for different environments or things like that.
Absolutely. And you were kind of touching on some of the up and coming players. Did you maybe uncover a growth or a success factor you wanted to share with the audience?
Sure. So one of the big growth factors that we saw was that obviously this technology is pretty new. Its use cases are sort of in an emerging state right now. And for the past few years, most projects have been sort of focused at the development stage, more pilot projects and smaller scale things. But recently, as these technology users have seen success with these technologies, as they've begun to have a clear idea of how can they derive value from them, they're really pushing for greater scale and full scale projects. So suppliers are meeting that demand with stronger devices, higher end devices, and more comprehensive solutions that have scalability at their heart.
Very interesting. And then let me kind of flip that question around for you. Is there maybe a growth inhibiting factor or two you might have uncovered?
Right. So in terms of inhibitors in this market, I think the big one that kind of distills down is it's a very evolving, very dynamic landscape in terms of hardware, software, platforms, services, ecosystems. There's just a whole lot happening right now in this market, and it can be kind of daunting to users who don't have dedicated IT teams or things like this. It's leading some people to sort of take a wait and see approach, where if this technology is really evolving so rapidly, if I invest, is it going to be obsolete in a few years? That's some strategies, but it can be dangerous because your competitors may be taking up these technologies and getting a competitive edge.
Absolutely. And that's not even just in this market, but across a couple of the interviews we've done, we've kind of seen that paradigm, right? Where the early adapters could potentially be getting a competitive advantage, but flipping that, like you said, with the speed of the evolution of the technology in some of these markets, it could pretty quickly become obsolete, it's a very interesting thing that a number of large companies are dealing with right now.
Right. And I think I'd recommend, if these companies are looking at these technologies, you really have to go into it with a clear picture of what you need to get out of the technology and how you plan to derive value from it. It's one of those ways that you can kind of cut through all the buzz and the hype in the market.
Well, and that you kind of got ahead of me on that one. That was going to be one of my next questions for you there, Patrick. If I'm an asset owner, if I'm a technology end user looking to acquire a system like this, do you have any strategies that you would recommend to those kind of clients or people?
Right, that's a great question. I think one of the things you can do is you can really take a look at these new sort of IT-oriented technologies that are starting to descend at the OT level. You know, as these systems get more complex, if you do them incorrectly, it could potentially increase the cybersecurity problems that you have. So taking, advantage of these new IT-oriented cybersecurity technologies and postures can be really important. I think it's also important to look at things like virtualized environments that weren't typically used in the, sort of constrained industrial edge space before in large amounts. And of course, look at these cloud native technologies as well. These might not be applicable to every situation, but I think it's still important to see what these technologies can do for us.
Absolutely. Very interesting point you made there. Patrick, during your research, is there any other, key trends or points you'd like to share with the audience as we wrap up this interview? Anything that really stuck out that you wanted to bring up?
Sure. I think it's really important to consider your ecosystem when you're adopting these kind of devices or, an industrial edge strategy in general. You don't want to lock yourself into a particular vendor that may not have everything you need. So it's important to look at what alliances they're making, what hyperscaler environment they're in. I think it's really something important to consider.
Absolutely. And obviously, as part of this report, we have a bunch of detailed data and information on, market shares, et cetera. So you could really build out that buyer strategy. And this report could be something that certainly helps out a lot. Patrick, I really appreciate the time today. This was very informative, but again, just scratches kind of the surface of detail included in this report. We'll have links to our website in the study press release in the description below. And you can contact us directly through that webpage. We'd love to discuss how market data, analysis, and reports like this can help out your company. So thanks a lot for the time, Patrick, and audience. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, Lucas.